All right, let's say you want to build your very own gaming PC, but don't know exactly where to start. I assume this is a situation a lot of people find themselves into, myself included. But worry not, because today we got some expert help. Konstantin here has been building some amazing builds for big YouTube names, and I think I'm in pretty safe hands.
Thank you, Vlad. What an introduction.
First of all, I would like to ask you, what is the difference between a custom-built PC and a pre-built one?
Okay, so with the pre-build, you're buying into ease and convenience.
Right.
You're getting a plug-and-play solution straight out of the box. So as soon as you take it out, power it on, you're ready to start gaming. It comes with other bonuses like extended warranties and such things like that. I personally think it's a cool way for beginners to get into the whole PC ecosystem, as you can familiarize yourself with all the components inside the PC without even having to touch them. So he's got a clear panel so you can kind of peek through what's going on.
That looks pretty nice.
Yeah, and then when you feel more comfortable with the components inside of the PC, I think that's where you can get into sort of the custom
stuff.
builds.
Yes. What is the advantages of building your own PC?
Sometimes it could look daunting, but this is only like 7 components here in front of us. And then you have your main housing, the PC case. Now, the size of this thing gets determined by the size of your components. And that just sort of depends on what type of budgets you're working with and your personal preference of the type of machine you're building. So for example, if you're building a very high-end one with big, powerful parts, you're gonna need a big case and enough room to store those parts in. We're gonna start off with this. This is your motherboard. All of your components will connect into this, and then eventually it will be housed inside your case. Right. So before it goes in here, there are a couple of parts that we can start placing onto the motherboard now, such as the brains of the whole operation, the CPU. It's quite small, so they don't let that throw you off. They come in different sizes, and if you think of this as the brain, brains with different IQs.
Oh, I see where you're getting at.
Yeah, there's ones that are more powerful than others and can do more tasks and whatnot. So you should always refer back to your manuals and your components that you're buying, that they're compatible together.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, because if you buy a motherboard that's smaller and a massive processor, they won't fit. So just double check that before you start purchasing things.
So we've got to make sure we do our research. What else? What about these sticks?
This is the RAM. Now think of this as you being on a motorway.
Right.
And only one lane is open. How do you feel?
That sounds frustrating.
Right. A second lane opens up. How do you feel?
Suddenly relieved?
Yeah, you're going to get home quicker. So this is like responsible for a lot of multitasking. So you're going to be able to multitask more. For someone like myself who does a lot of video editing, I require a lot of RAM because the programs I use are very RAM hungry. Wow. For gaming, you're good with like 16 to 32 gig RAM.
All right, yeah.
So the number on here, DDR5, just refers to the generation of RAM. If you are working, for example, with DDR4, you know, the previous generation, 3, 2, 1, you just have to make sure it's compatible with the motherboard. So usually on your motherboard, it will say if it's compatible with what type of DDR RAM. So just again, you've got to look into that.
Doing your research.
Yes. This tiny thing, believe it or not, will hold all of your system files. It will hold your games.
Okay.
It can hold all those cat pictures. This is 1 terabyte.
Okay.
It's a good amount to start with. You're also not limited to just one of these.
Yes.
Sometimes motherboards these days can offer more slots for these. This is flash memory, or M.2, an M.2 solid state drive, technical name for it.
Sounds very fancy.
You can get different ones. You can get hard drives, you can get solid state drives. So the older generation of hard drives, you might remember they're like these big things.
Yeah.
So
quite sensitive as well.
They're pretty cool. So you'll find them at a much more affordable price, but those ones are much slower at processing things. So when it comes to using this, I would hold all of my system files on here so that when I boot my PC up, it can be read a lot quicker. But when it comes to storing old data that you don't really access much, you can save a bit of money and not spend so much on solid state drives and get some hard drives or cheaper solid state drives. What I'm trying to say is there are options, but yeah, when you're building like the core base of your PC, I would definitely recommend having a solid state drive that runs all of your system files.
You got a memory, you got a storage, the brains.
All right, so imagine you're in a restaurant
Yeah.
and you've got your head chef, which is our CPU.
Right.
It sort of sends orders to the line cooks in the kitchen.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
And the job of your line cooks is to make the meals really quick and make them look really beautiful. So that's the job of the graphics card.
All right, so that's a tightly knit relationship.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, these days graphics cards serve multi-purposes.
Okay.
They work in parallel with the CPU, and they do loads of other microprocesses that help your system run fast. So for me, when I do video editing, it helps to read my video files quickly and process them in a quick, efficient manner. It does a lot more than just deliver graphics to your screen these days.
Does it make sense to invest the most in the graphics card?
I think you've got to see this as a sports team where every player has to be doing quite well
Okay,
for themselves in order to make the team thrive. If you get one component that's better than all the others, it might bottleneck all the other things and you might not get the results that you want anyway.
Right, so you want a pretty balanced team.
Yeah, I'd say balance it out. There's no one component that will, boost everything. It's all a little bit of everything. As you can imagine, it can get quite hot in this kitchen, right? So what happens when there's too much heat? Things tend to slow down, people get a little bit hot and tired. You want to keep things cool.
Right.
Otherwise, your computer starts to lag and not perform in its best abilities.
How do we go about doing it?
Well, we need a cooler. There we go. And this is a cooler block. Now, this cooler block circulates water around and it gets in contact with the CPU here, like so.
Just like that?
Well, not just like that. This little syringe contains thermal paste. And think of this as like our filling for the sandwich.
Love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So this paste will be applied onto the CPU and then the block will touch it. And it's like a little bridge for all the heat to be able to cross the two.
Oh, that's a beautiful way of putting it, yeah.
There are other ways to cool your system down. For example, air cooling, where it uses a fan to circulate heat around your case and then exit it through different slots.
Okay, yeah.
Here we have liquid cooling.
So the liquid goes through here.
That's right, in this cooling block, liquid passes through the hot bit that touches the CPU, and then it circulates to the fans, and then the fans blow out that hot heat, and it allows all the heat to dissipate through your system.
All this sounds like a lot of work. What is powering all this?
So you need this thing, it's called the power supply
Okay,
unit,
yes.
and this does have loads of ports over here that run two parts of the motherboard and your graphics card. When you get all your components, it's important to calculate all the right power supplies that are needed and add them all up. There are calculators online that can help you do that. And I would recommend, as a rule of thumb, get something that's a bit more powerful than what you need, because in the future, if it comes to upgrading certain parts of your PC build, that you're ready to go for it and you don't need to buy a whole new power supply unit.
Sounds like a pretty sound advice. Well, to be honest, all this talking about components got me really excited about building it. So shall we jump straight into it?
Let's do it. It'd be rude not to, right?
Come on.
Good team effort. Oh,
smokes.
that's real team effort right there when you hear a
what we
clap like that. A lot of people might want to cheap out when it comes to the monitor. However, the wrong move, because when you're investing into such premium components as we did, you need something to respect it. So I recommend getting yourself a monitor with a high refresh rate. The rest is like sort of personal preference when it comes to mouse and keyboard, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What would you say?
But also a part you shouldn't cheap out on, because this is the part you interact most with. Like, yes, you've built the PC, but that's it. You only touch the power button. While this is what you use for gaming, for typing, so don't cheap out on the keyboard as well. There's a choice of switches for everyone.
You can even get silent ones.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
if you're trying to be
Stealth
really
keyboard.
quiet, you use stealth keyboards. The cables that you use, very important as
It
well.
has to be
So
matched,
get yourself some really good cables, because they will transmit the correct signal to your monitor. 3, 2, 1. The lights are on.
Ooh.
The air circulating.
All I'm feeling is relief. What better way to test this than with an Expedition 33 playthrough?
Ah, yes. We've got a little Tamagotchi here, it seems. This monitor is just beautiful, isn't it? Super thin bezels. You get immersed in just pure gameplay. That's sick. It just feels so clear, like I'm in the game.
Nice one!
Yes.
Dang.
Eat lead. Beautiful graphics. I really enjoyed that. I don't know about you, but I feel very accomplished.
Oh yeah, I agree. It was easier than expected, so that's a relief.
Yeah, I hope it's given you guys some inspiration on how a PC build is done. If you feel more comfortable, ease yourself in with some of the starting components, maybe a smaller case, different graphics cards, so you don't feel that much pressure to get it wrong, But for now, do you fancy doing another build?
All right, sign me up.
Let's go.
Let's go.